the preview, remember the chapter preview questions, you had to calculate slope and do all the lists. Almost all of you did it exactly right, and if you didn't do it exactly right, it was because you flipped x and y, and we can fix that really quickly. So I'm not going to spend a ton of time going through all this, but I do want to just hit the highlights. Slope is the number we assign to show the steepness of a line. So as the slope goes up, like it goes from 1/2 to 2 to 3 to 4, what's happening to the line? Yeah, it's getting steeper. Okay, like 1/2, 2, 4, 6, it's getting steeper. Okay, until what happens when the slope gets smaller and smaller, closer to 0? A smaller fraction, like 1/8, 1/16, 1/32. What's happening? It gets flatter till it reaches horizontal. And what's the slope of a horizontal line? 0. Right. And then once it goes past horizontal this way, what happens to the slope? It gets negative. Right? Okay. And slope is calculated by the change in y. This is the y-axis. So the change in y, the difference between the y-coordinates over the change in x, the difference in the x-coordinates. Okay? We use the formula to get the change in y. You just take the two y-coordinates and subtract them. And to get the change in x, you should take the two x-coordinates and subtract them. Okay? So we already talked about horizontal line has a slope of 0. And if you think about it, it kind of makes sense too, because a slope of 0 would be 0 over a number, like 4, right? And this means the rise, it's not going up at all, and it's going over 4. So if it's not going up at all, doesn't that make sense that it's horizontal? Same thing with vertical. That is a number over 0. The x's don't change. So that means that the rise is going up 4, but it's not going over at all. So since dividing by 0 is undefined, that makes the slope of a vertical line undefined. Okay, is all this, remembering all this from Algebra 1? We spent like an entire quarter on this, so. All right. So just quickly, can we calculate the slope of 2, 3, and 9, 7? So we've got a line. A line is made up of millions of points all strung together. So here are 2 of those points on that line. And how would I calculate the slope? Ella?
You're going to write 7 minus 20.
Mm-hmm. Right. The change in y's over the change in x's. So if it helps, label them. Make this x1, y1, and this x2, y2. Those little sub numbers just are a way of identifying the ordered pair. So if I had a third ordered pair, what would you call it? X3, Y3, right. Exactly. All right, so if it helps, label them. So it's Y2 minus Y1 over X2 minus X1. So like I said, if you made a mistake on the preview questions, it usually was just because you did the X's on top and the Y's underneath. So 7 minus 3 is 4, 9 minus 2 is 7, so the slope of that one is 4/7. Okay, so would that be relatively flat or steep? Less than 1. Yeah, it would probably be pretty flat. So it would be up 4 over 7. So let's say it started at 0, 0. It would be like that. Okay. All right. Do we all remember how to calculate slope? Remember, and this one you can kind of tell by looking. What kind of line is it? No, it's not negative or positive. Yeah, if the x's are the same, that means it's not moving off the negative 5 and the x, right? So think about what that, so if the x, see how the x's are the same here? They're both negative 5? So that's, it's x negative 1 and 4, so what kind of line would it be? Undefined, it would be vertical, right? So whenever you see the x's are the same, you know that's going to be a vertical line. When you see the y is the same, it's going to be horizontal, right? Okay? Any questions on calculating slope? All right. All right, then the equation of a line, the most famous version, is slope-intercept form. And slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. And what I used to tell my Algebra 1 classes is, I should be able to go into your house in the middle of the night and say, what's the slope in slope-intercept form? And you should be able to wake up out of a dead sleep and say y equals mx plus b. Like, that's how well you should know y equals mx plus b. Is you should be able to just come up with it right off the top of your head, no matter what the situation is. Okay? While you're all considering that horrifying vision there. The reason that it's the most popular, the easiest to use, is because all you need is 1 point. Normally, how many points does it take to make a line? 2. Okay, it takes 2 points to make a line. But with slope-intercept form, you start with 1, okay, the intercept, and then the slope tells you where to go from there. The slope is like directions to the next point. So you really only need 1 point. That's what makes it kind of easier. Okay, so B is the y-intercept. It's where it crosses the y-axis. M is the slope. The x and the y are always going to be there to hold the place for all the ordered pairs. Because remember, a line is just a conglomeration of ordered pairs. So the x and the y stand for all those ordered pairs. Okay, so what would I do for this one before I could graph it? Right, change it to y equals mx plus b. How would I do that? Right, I'd add 2x to both sides first, and then divide by 3. So I'd get 3y is equal to 2x plus 9, and then I divide by 3. Don't forget the butterfly effect. You got to divide everything by 3, not just the numbers. Okay?
It's like a heart effect.
Yeah. Heart effect. That's a heart effect, okay. So that would be, I'd end up being y equals 2/3 x plus 3. Because 2 divided by 3 is 2/3, 9 divided by 3 is 3. Alright, so just remember, even if they don't give it to you in slope-intercept form, it's not that difficult to rearrange it into slope-intercept form. Alright. Now, what if all I'm given is 2 points? Can I write it in slope-intercept form? Yeah. Okay, well, if I'm given these 2 points are on my line, but I don't know the equation of the line, okay? To write it in slope-intercept form, really, all I need is the m and the b, right? The intercept and the slope. So the way I go about, some of this stuff I already know. Like, what's the slope of that line? Of the line that these 2 points go through? Or the line that goes through those 2 points? Well, how would I find it out? Yeah, somebody give me the numbers. 4 minus -2 over right, -1 minus 1. 4 plus 2 is 6. -1 minus 1 is -2. 6 divided by -2 is -3. So my slope is -3. Now, do I have a nice formula for finding the y-intercept? Not really, but I know that if I can get everything resolved down to one variable, I can solve any equation for one variable. So in my equation, y equals mx plus b, can I fill in everything but B? Yeah, because X and Y just stand for a point on the line. Do I know any points on the line? I know two. So somebody give me one of them. 1 and -2. Okay, so I'm going to plug it in. -2 is equal to -3 times 1 plus B. This becomes -3 plus B. How do I get rid of the -3? Right, add 3 to both sides. And so I get 1 equals B. Okay, and now I can plug it in and get the equation of the line. What would it be? Y equals
3x
right. Yep, that's the equation of the line. All right, you guys try it. Do this one. Which X and Y did you use for this? 2 and the 0. Okay. Okay, and what was M? 2/3. Good. Right? 2 minus 0 and 5 minus 2. All right, and to find B, you plug in the X and the Y, so you get 0 is equal to 2 times 2/3 plus B. 2 times 2/3 is 4/3, right? Subtract 4/3 from both sides to get rid of the 4/3. And you get B is equal to -4/3. Okay? And so my slope-intercept form would be Y equals 2/3 X minus 4/3. Right? All right, now let's talk a little bit about parallel and perpendicular. Okay? Hopefully we know this already. I think you guys already talked about it on your preview questions. Parallel lines have what kind of slope? The same, right. Parallel lines have the same slope. How about perpendicular?
Same and opposite.
Opposite, reciprocal, right. I never give up a chance to say reciprocal because it's my favorite word. Opposite, reciprocal. It's not fun to say. Kind of tickles your tongue. Reciprocal. You don't think it's fun to say? It is. It's fun to say. I think it's fun to say. Not just me. All right. So if I have an equation, okay, I have a line that goes through point -1, 4, and it's parallel to y equals -2x. If it's the lines are parallel, what can you tell me about the slope of my line? It has the same slope. Since the slope of this one is -2, so my slope is also going to be -2. So in my chart here, what are my x and y going to be? 4 and -1. My slope is going to be -2. Now I can plug it in and get my b, right? I just do 4 is equal to mx plus b. Okay? That's 2. I subtract it and I get b equals 2. And then I get y is equal to -2x plus